The next person met the Lord Jesus when he was 17 years old. He met the Lord Jesus when he was 17 years old. He's done his bachelor's in chemistry, did an MBA later. But his purpose and calling in life is to eliminate human trafficking, especially from Mumbai, Maharashtra, and West Bengal. So he's the executive director and the founder of Purnata, which work only on that. He's got about 30 plus years of ministry experience, Bible teaching and preaching. But his purpose is to work in places where many of us would hesitate to even go there. That's what purpose does. God takes you to places that you really don't want to go to, but God takes you there and he says, I'm with you, right? As I was with Moses, I will be with you. So I want you to put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Aaboo Varghese on stage. We can do better than that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank, when thinking of all the brilliant people going before me, and I'm like at the ending batsman. I know it's like, what can I say more? There's so many people who have got, and I just want to thank all of you who shared your stories. I'm so inspired and blessed, and I'm sure all of us are. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for the team for giving me this opportunity. I feel inadequate, but I know that God has a plan and purpose for me to be here with you this afternoon. I'm Aaboo Varghese. I'm the founder and executive director of Purnata. You already heard about that. Mine is a story unfolding, and I'm going to just share a little bit about that. I am a called son sent to serve. That's been my motto. And I'll unpack that for you a little later towards the end. Who am I? This is my name. Many people write ABU, but this is my name. It's a unique name. It's a funny name. In school, people used to make fun of me. They used to, say Aaboo and all kind of, variations of that. And I used to feel very embarrassed. But after I came to know the Lord, I realized it's a very unique name. My mom actually gave this name because there was a bishop called Aaboo. She was a Orthodox background, and she probably thought I'd be a bishop, but I did. Anyway, so she added an A and an O and made it very unique. And so, Aaboo, I see myself as a Christian by choice. I see myself as a Bible teacher by gifting. I am an overcomer by faith, and you'll see that in my story. I'm a human trafficking advocate by passion, and I'm a work in progress. I was born in Kerala, but I grew up in Mumbai, and then I worked 18 years in Kolkata, and God brought me back to Mumbai. So right now I'm in Mumbai. This is the school. My mom and my uncle just took me to this big, huge place, and while I was talking to the ayahs in one corner, my mom and my matron were sitting outside the dormitory. There were 30 beds in that dormitory, and they were talking outside. Suddenly, I heard the door closing. I go and bang at the door, and I find my mom is crying on the other end. So I also started crying. I said, what happened? And I realized that my mom was leaving me at that big boarding school and going. That's the vivid memory I still have of how I got introduced to boarding school. 10 years of my life I spent there. I was a shy introvert, but soon I got into a relationship as I grew up, and I messed up my life because it broke up. I was a brilliant student in school, generally all throughout, but when it came my 10th standard, I messed it up because of that broken relationship. And I came home, my dad pelted me, and I got into problems with my parents. I couldn't get along. I ran away from home. And somehow God providentially brought me back, and I acted mad for 2 days. 2 days, I really used to take a umbrella and shoot at everybody. I would say ABCD and all kind of things, just acting mad. But I knew that I couldn't do that for long. After that, a few days later, it was July 5th, 1984, a professor came to meet my cousins. They weren't there. So he came and shared the gospel with me. And he told me about what it means to be born again and what it means to come to know Jesus in your life and how he can change your life. And I gave my life to the Lord that day. I was just not even 17, I was 16 plus. I gave my heart to the Lord. And what a messed up guy I was in school changed totally. I used to do everything short of drugs. We had our lives where we used to get into gang fights, carrying knives, all those kind of things. But God changed me. And my parents were earlier worried that I was getting too bad. And then they started getting worried I'm getting too good, you know. So I didn't know what to do, but somehow God had put His hand upon me, and I found that my life changed. And because of that change, I was able to move ahead in my life. So I just want to, I sensed God's call during those years till I did my graduation, and I experienced. I knew because God had called me. I started eating all kind of food. I hated Karela and all the vegetables. I started eating, started sleeping on the floor, started preparing my life for a hard life of missions. I didn't know what God was calling me to. But when I did that, when I left home after my graduation, my dad and mom actually had wanted me to go as a doctor, to study medicine in America. They'd already made arrangements, but I knew that was not my calling. And there were other plans. They wanted me to get a job, but that didn't work out because that was not what I wanted. And so finally, I came back to Mumbai. And after some 8 months of Bible teaching in different homes and different places, God led me to join Operation Mobilization. I was OM for 3 years. I was initially in Goa, then Tamil Nadu, and finally in East India in Kolkata. Some of the things I learned there that God prepared me was actually to be uh, a simple lifestyle, to learn to live by faith. We should literally sell gospel packets and Bibles and live with that. That's how we used to have. No funds came from anywhere. So I learned to live simple lifestyle. I learned also to submit to authority. You know, in my team earlier, I had all 10, 12 past people. I was the only graduate, and that too from a city. I could speak very good English. I had a good Bible knowledge. But when I learned to submit to authority, when they told me something which I didn't want to do, and I learned that God, I have to submit, then only I will learn. And I believe that when you learn to submit, God helps you to lead others who will also submit. And so God taught me many things like that. And going back, uh, one more thing I learned is about prayer, corporate prayer and personal prayer. We did a lot of that. We prayed for the Berlin Wall to break down. We prayed for the issues in Nepal and many other places, and God has answered. I joined UESI because I found that that is where I was able to practice my gifts more and my calling. So God used us for 16 years with university students. I taught in St. Xavier's College part-time, and I also served full-time with UESI in terms of reaching students. We were able to disciple and to mentor and to impact hundreds of students who today are in missions, including Lamtaput and many other places where they are serving God in mission fields or in the corporate sector. And because of that, we have those relationships, and people have been impacted. And thanks God has used us in those days. That's when I met my wife, Sybil, and my family. My 2 children were born in Calcutta, and she's a primary school teacher in Mumbai, and she served with me in UESI. And when we came to Mumbai back, she has become a teacher since then. I joined Oasis and I came back to Mumbai. That is where I learned about human trafficking. And I want to just bring that whole issue of trafficking to you before this. When I joined Oasis, I did not know anything about human trafficking. I had no idea about the development sector. So I went in and I learned from scratch. And I learned a lot of lessons. And one of the things happened was when I heard stories of women and children who were bought and sold as commodities, it was just heartbreaking. And somehow I was wondering what can be done about this. And so as I started researching more and studying more and understanding more, one girl, her name was Deepa. She is no more today. But she was a girl whose story inspired me a lot. She became close to our family. She would come and stay with us. She was rescued and rehabilitated while I was in Oasis. And after that, when she came, she would continue to be helped her find and trace her family after 18 years. Now, her story was when she was 6 years old, she was trafficked to Mumbai. She was sold into Kamatipur at the age of 9. And she went through horrific crimes against her. She did a lot to get out of it, but no one was there to help. But finally, one day she got rescued, and we were able to have the privilege of reshaping her story and helping her to find semblance. She was working last at Javed Habib as a hairdresser, and she was doing very well there. But because of HIV, she passed away some years back. That's when I decided to start Purnata. I moved on from Oasis. The last thing I wanted to do was add another NGO to the 33 crores of NGOs that are there. You know, there's 1 NGO for every 400 Indians. That's what they say, which is because 90-95% of them are all bogus NGOs. And so when I started Purnata, I decided that, I just wanted to do this because I couldn't find any other options. And I had 10, 15 of my close friends and well-wishers to come. I did a strategic planning exercise through which I got the mission and vision and core values and other aspects of the organization. I started this in 2014. This is our 10th year. We've come a long way. In the first year, we had only 2 staff. Today, we have nearly 30. And we have come a long way in our journey. And I just want to talk a little bit about that, or what human trafficking is. It's the fastest growing crime. It is the most lucrative business today. And that is people. You can buy and sell people multiple times and you will be profitable. It's not like your resale value goes down. We work in Kolkata, in Mumbai, and in Boshirat. And we address demand and supply. In the sense, we are looking at human trafficking in a comprehensive way, where we are wanting to prevent at source, prevent at transit routes, and prevent at destinations. And so, because you've taken up this humongous task, with limited resources, we've come a long way to what we have done in this work. I just want to tell you Muskan's story. Her mother was brought into Mumbai trafficked when she was only 12, and her mother was sold into a brothel in Mumbai. But because she was only 12, they couldn't keep her in that brothel. So the traffickers kept her in a flat. They raped her, they impregnated her, they aborted the baby by kicking against her stomach and other places. And finally, she aborted that baby, and they realized they couldn't keep that girl there. They took her to Delhi and sold her there. She was sold 3 or 4 times until she reached Bareilly. We had no idea. We did a rescue operation later on to rescue her, but only after the mother started sharing her story. And that's how the story went on and started to be rewritten. I'll tell you more about that. Imagine another 11 million Muskans across this country. It's 22% of the world's slaves are in India, which is making India the hub of human trafficking and slavery. Half of them are children. Over 60-70% are women. This is the reality of human trafficking. When we did our impact, we were in the last 9 years, we rescued over 85 children, over 60 women, over 1,500 women have been impacted, over 500 children have been impacted, and over 500,000 and counting have heard about human trafficking. During COVID, we switched gears. We were able to give at least 2 million meals equivalent to different families and people. We were able to help transgenders, over 100 transgenders get vaccination, over 200 women get a vaccination, and other provisions from the government that the government provided. We've been starting to be recognized in this sector more and more. Recently, we had a story, and that's where Joshua heard us. It was a forum called SVP, Social Venture Partners, and out of 197 NGOs in the country, They chose 12 NGOs, and we were one of those NGOs that was chosen for pitching to a large crowd of nearly 2,000-3,000 people online. And that has helped in resulting a good amount of funding that is coming to us because of that. Just want to summarize some of the lessons I've learned, the centrality of Christ in all of my life. Romans 12, 1-2, this is from the Message paraphrase. So it says, here's what I want you to do. God helping you, take your everyday, ordinary life. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're going to work and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You will be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants you, always dragging you down to His level of, readily what He wants you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to His level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. You see, what I've learned, one thing I've learned is keep Jesus at the center of everything you do. Just like a spider that stays in the center of a web, it will go take its prey, but still come back to the center. Learn to keep Jesus at the center of your profession, of your dreams, of your aspirations, of everything you want to do, and you will find blessing. You will find His guide, help. As we are as spiritual as we want to be. In other words, what I've seen is, if we are spiritual to a certain extent, it's because we have chosen that. If we are less spiritual, it's because that's what we have chosen. And what I have seen as Ephesians says, He can do much more than we can imagine or ask. And this is one statement which has always stayed with me as a young Christian, that God's commands are His enablings. Whatever He commands you to do, He will also enable you to do. Nothing is difficult. If He has commanded you to do something difficult, do it, because He has His eye upon you. God is broken over this broken world. And I keep thinking, God, these women, these children, you're broken over them. And God is wanting to do something. Exodus 3, 7-10. He's seen, He has heard, He is concerned, He is coming down. And so He says, now you go. And I think God is calling each one of us to do something. What is it today when you are here? Find your purpose. Go from here with a purpose. As to Lord, I want to listen to what you have today, and I will do it. Mission is not about me feeling the need. It is everywhere where I found in my life that wherever God has sent me, He had already heard the cries of people who were there. It is not about me finding the need there. God's will unfolds one step at a time. In all my steps, when I joined OM, then I went to UESI, and then I went to Oasis, and then I started Purnata. What I found is one step at a time. God will not reveal the whole purpose of your life. He will only show you one purpose at a time, one step at a time. And so just like Psalm 119, 105, you can hold the lantern and see only the next step. And that's what God is promising. And I think my own life has seen that again and again. And the last thing I want to say is about the lessons is the dream big things, but don't despise small beginnings. Because all of us have had small beginnings. And Purnata was a small beginning, and we're still not there. But I know God has a plan and purpose. If tomorrow He wants me to shut down Purnata, I'll be more than happy. Because that's what I want to do, what He wants me to do. And I just want to say, success will die with my death, but fruitfulness, it will continue even after my death. So don't look for success, look for fruitfulness. Rosa Parks was a young girl who sat in a black section of the bus, and she was asked to get up, and her testimony is like her story biography is, sitting down to stand up, and where she took a stand. That small incident sparked the civil rights movement. So I'm coming to my end. Continue to pray for us. We live and work in a very dark space. A lot of evil, lot of black magic, a lot of demonic activities, and especially a lot of darkness in people's lives. Be aware of the situation around about human trafficking. If you don't know, you want to know, please follow us on social media. We keep updating our stuff. Apart from that, you can reach out to us and you can read the information on the internet and other places. Be alert. If you see something around you, do something about it. Don't keep quiet. And then, not only that, be responsible and take action where needed. Volunteer. We look for volunteers all the time. You don't have to be in Mumbai for that. And we have hundreds of ways we can tell you how you can volunteer. Reach out to us and we'll let you know. Partner with us. And I just want to say that Muskan was rescued, rehabilitated, and sent back. We did a rescue that spanned 6 months across 3 states, and we were able to do a rescue operation that lasted many days and lakhs of rupees, but we rescued her and we caught all the people who were responsible for her. She had marks all over her body. Her hand was broken. Her tooth was broken. She had cigarette butts all over her body. Her life was messed up. But today, with a lot of care and help, she's doing much better and she's sent back. And I just want to say, this is a small poem. If she had the money to study, she would have been your classmate, perhaps your college topper. That was not what she dreamt of. I'm going to close. I just want to say that let's work together for a safe world and for women and children. I wanted to just say about that story. I am what I am by the grace of God. I have nothing much to show apart from that. I am called, and I know that's a calling on my life that I'm able to do what I'm doing, and I want to do more. I am a son, and that's my identity with Him. And not only that, He has sent me, giving me a purpose. And whatever I'm doing today, it's a purpose that He is fulfilling in my life. And I know it is to serve. I believe when you go and serve people, you will save people. Because serving gives you a context within which you can save people. And it's so amazing to hear their stories of transformation. I wish you could have heard some of them. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity once again. Here are my coordinates. You can just scan that. And
thank you, Aaboo. If you could just stay back there. Fascinating. I'm reminded of Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1, where it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news, to bind the brokenhearted, and to set the captives free." You're a one Muskan, but there are so many other Muskans out there. And it is his responsibility, your responsibility, and my responsibility to set the captives free. That's what Jesus would actually do. Thank you once again. I'm going to request Pravesh and Rebecca to come up on stage. Yes, put your hands together. I'm going to get this word right this time. Felicitate Aaboo.
Thank you. God bless.
And what do we have written on the caricature? It says, freedom fighter. Wow, that's so powerful. Indeed, a freedom fighter.
How do you get this?